So one of the things I wanted to share is, okay, great. Well, what are the things that we see people do in challenging times? There's so much noise happening to be able to thrive within it and have their companies do really, really well. So a couple of things, like many people, and like Jim Collins's concept of the Stockdale paradox, the best CEOs I've seen that handle it, they acknowledge the hard stuff and they don't sugarcoat it. They don't spin everything positive. They really say, this is hard. This will be hard. And we can do hard things. There's that great book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. Wonderful, wonderful book. But it's acknowledging that it's hard and then knowing that we're going to get the resolve and work through it together. Second thing is that when the leaders, any of the leaders, really roll up their sleeves and work shoulder to shoulder with people through these challenging times, getting in the boardroom or on a Teams or a Zoom call and working through and crunching the scenarios. Sometimes people will just direct other people to do it, and that works. That's their job. But when people are willing to get shoulder to shoulder, order into pizza at night, so we got to get the job done type stuff, that seems to make a big difference. One, you get it done, but you're also setting the right leadership tone. And that may not be your style, but that's something I see people do. Continually going back and using the tools you have. Go back to your BHAG and your purpose, which are like your North Star. It's kind of like you're lost at sea in a storm, and reconnecting and doubling down on those things. Hey, this is where we're still going long term. That doesn't change. Yes, there's some disruption in the middle, but back to focus on the BHAG, focus on the purpose. Remind them that we're still going to get there. Also, if you've really got a strong 3 to 5 year plan, continuing to focus on it after you have pressure tests to make sure it still holds true. You might need to pause a piece of it or change a piece of it. But if it holds true, continuing to say, look at, and we think we're going to get there in 3 years. Now maybe it's 4 or 5, but it's still the same. Like reminding people we have these principles that we operate by that we don't deviate from, and staying on course with those things. Helping people to decipher the signal from the noise. For example, in this last week, there's a lot of noise in North America and the rest of the world about all the different changes happening in the US or proposed or possibilities. We'll soon find out what that is. But helping people to decipher the signal from the noise, or at least coming up with your own interpretation and helping people to know what to focus on so they don't get lost in all of it, and trying to say, okay, here's the signal that we're going to follow at this point, and it might change tomorrow, but kind of guiding people what to think and where to go as a leader. Double checking your strategy, we talked about, and then communicate like heck. Like, in scaling up, the idea of the daily meetings is about really, making communication strong and consistent and driving through the organization, but finding ways probably to communicate more and better. Like as a rule of thumb, probably doubling the frequency you communicate to your entire team. It could be 5 times, depends on you and your leadership style. And just letting people know, because at the end of the day, they're going to have a story in their head. And our job is to help to lead them to the story that is productive and helps us to win. If you don't do it, somebody else is inputting that story, and that's not necessarily ideal. And then finally, the most important, and that's, it's probably why I wrote your oxygen mask first, is it because it's about our own resilience and staying strong. There's so many things that stress and drain people. And, one CEO I was talking with today, and, they're saying that they're doubling down and staying so focused on their exercise and their own personal resilience rituals. Another one I was talking to last week, was it this week? It was last week. Last week was like, they normally walk for 2 miles a day with their dog, and they're putting it up to 3 because that gives them time to decompress and get grounded and get their head clear. But whatever it is, there's this saying that, if the CEO or leader of a team, sneezes, then the whole team gets a cold. And that's really dangerous in these times. If we are off our game, it radiates. If we're panicked, it radiates. If we're confident, it radiates. If we're optimistic and realistic, it radiates. If we're hardworking, it radiates. If we believe in the end that we'll persevere and be great, it radiates. But if we get tired or exhausted, it's hard to do that. And sometimes we don't show up at our best. And I know that happens to me. I spent a lot of time on the plane on the way here writing just to get my head super clear and focused, distilling through and practicing a lot of these same things. So at the end, we always work through things in our societies. We always have challenging times and work through it. That's life. But it's how we handle these situations and how we keep our teams focused on the things that help us to win and stay energized, so that in the end, we do the best work we can and feel good and feel the support and the strength of the team throughout it. So Hopefully this all settles down quick. I don't know. We have no idea, but we know we can control what we can control. We can control what we focus on. We can control how we communicate and lead, and we can control the efforts that people put on and what they focus on and what they don't. So hope you have a great day. Hope this is helpful.